Thank you for joining our session at 2 o'clock. Basically, to talk about the insurance ecosystem and how we need to relook at the ecosystem that insurance distribution and insurance sector is catering to. For this, we have uh, a very interesting panel of eminent speakers. We have Mr. Shri Saurabh Mishra, who's a Joint Secretary with the Ministry of Finance. We have Dr. Jonathan Bloomberg, who's from the Discovery Group. We have Prashant Tripathi from Max Life Insurance. Hemant is here from Fonpay, and of course, Yashish is there from Policy Bazaar. I would request Tapan to please take this forward because Tapan will be leading the discussions and moderating the session. Thank you.
Thank you, Anuradha, and a very good afternoon to all of you. I think something which has been very close to my heart for quite some time is if we look at the insurance industry as a whole, it has always been seen as a transaction industry, that when you sell a policy and that to traditional products which have lasted for hundreds of years, like if you look at a fire policy that had been drafted, let's say in the 18th century or so, or a motor policy that had been drafted in the 19th century, and the same policy continues, and it's just selling a policy, the claim happens in whichever year you pay a claim. That is it. I think for hundreds of years, the insurance companies have done that. But is that the place that the insurance company has to be? Or is insurance companies look at something beyond that? Is the time has come where insurance company contribute to the society or to individual in a way that they can take away their worries? Has the time come for creating a strong ecosystem in which a customer has an end-to-end solution, a holistic solution, in which their worries are taken away, and insurance companies are not focusing on just transactional needs. And I think a lot of people have done a lot of work on this, and today I'm so proud and happy to see the panel and the speakers that we have for discussion. I think each of them have contributed to this thought in a huge manner, across the world or in the country, or the way things are being looked into, the way regulations are changing. You see, for health now we have wellness as part of the product, the way people are demanding that insurance companies should step up their game and bring out solutions, or we have people from PhonePe and Hemant is leading in terms of providing solutions very different, or Yashish in terms of his aggregation, or we have Dr. Jonathan in terms of what he has done. He's transformed the customer experience worldwide of real estate solution. Or we have with us Prashant from the life industry, and obviously Mr. Saurabh Mishra who is from the ministry and equally and if not more passionate for redefined industry. So I don't think I could have asked for a better set of speaker and panel discussion. I'm personally very excited to be part of it to see what all do we discuss today and how to take it forward. So what we'll start with is request Mr. Saurabh Mishra to give his thought on this and have an address, and then we get into panel discussion and we bring out the forefront. The time has come for the industry to be providing holistic solution. Time has come. We're not worried about transactional deals. That's a part of it. But can we take the customers away? Worries away. Time has come when we can build on the ecosystem and transform the way the industry works and the way a customer perceives the industry and the way we provide to the industry. Over to you, Mr. Mishra, for your opening remarks.
Thanks, Mr. Singhal, and what a period we have all witnessed. So while I was going through the subject of reimagining customer experience in the new normal, it also kind of reminds me of the last 16 to 18 months we all have witnessed. And each one of us have got a saga of stuff to say, to share, to experience, and the way things have gone about. Good afternoon all. First of all, I would like to extend my thanks to CII for organizing this session, which clearly serves as a common platform for all the relevant stakeholders of the industry. Deliberate and consolidate our thoughts on how the sector, insurance and pension put together can play a role in the augmenting of the overall growth and protection for the socio-economic parameters for the country over the next few decades. So just to give a brief background, I think India has already realized the importance of these sectors some time back. And after laying a strong foundation, they've started moving on towards achieving the aim of the countrywide outreach, which has been predominantly a Government of India effort, starting from Jan Suraksha schemes, that is Jeevan Jyoti and Suraksha Bima Yojana, taken under the name of Honorable Prime Minister, Atal Pension Yojana, and the Ayushman Bharat scheme. They've been kind of the standout initiatives that aimed to provide a social security net through insurance and pension schemes. Just to give you a kind of a comparative pictures, before the advent of these schemes, the section of our population working in the unorganized sector didn't really have a cost-efficient mechanism. to benefit from the insurance or the pension sector. And these initiatives certainly have helped addressing the socio-economic needs of the poor, the underserved, the underprivileged, and so on, by providing financial security of some sort at least. To put numbers to what I'm saying, Jeevan Jyoti Bima Yojana has covered around 5.1 crore lives as we go live today, has paid around 11,400 crores to the families of policyholders by way of claims. Suraksha Bima on the other side has been able to penetrate 18.1 crore lives and paid around 2,087 odd crores as claims. If we see the other side of the spectrum, which is beyond pension things for the risk of living too long, Atal Pension has already enrolled 3.58 crore eligible pension seeker as on 4th December. And PM Jan Arogya Yojana, or popularly known as Ayushman Bharat, has been steady in terms of mapping around 50 odd crore eligible individuals for their health coverage. So while these are monumental efforts from the government side, I really urge back to my sector, which is ever-growing private players also coming into that, to fulfill their side of responsibility as much as they can towards providing insurance and pension to each eligible Indian. Looking back and the new normal, I think COVID pandemic has started about 2 years back. Almost now has brought in a lot of uncertainties in the life of a common man, as we all know. Job losses, pay cuts, setbacks of losing their loved ones. I think the series is infinite in the way we have really suffered all through the COVID. There have been murmurs before the March 2020 as well about the importance social security schemes can really play. However, I think COVID has really not just accelerated, but almost forced us to think on a war footing basis as a sector, to take steps and ensure solutions that should be in sync with today's reality. The financial impact of the pandemic-led issues which happened to Indians which were valuing the protection and fallback offered by the products in tough times has been huge. I can give numbers, but they are available to all. Only point I would like to mention here is a HCF of the entire tragedy that we all went through this pandemic is that hitherto a discretionary expense, which insurance was considered to be, is now being looked at after the crisis, a vital cog of the way an average household plans about his own life, his family's life, or the lack of it. Apart from the financial impact, I also believe that the pandemic has left us with some irreversible dent on the psyche of a common man and inculcated the feeling of better safe than sorry approach in the minds of the people. It has, on the other side, also given the industry an opportunity to reassess the customer needs and offer solutions which could possibly see through the change of the way people's perception have changed, and the perception which now imagines product not just a push product, but something much more closer to their heart. As an average citizen becomes more and more health and hygiene conscious, they've already started looking out for bundled options which are personalized for them, which is insurance or insurance plus in nature. The need of flexibility in payments, innovative products, online modes of transactions, they all are now vital rather than desired, and are the primary expectations from a post-pandemic world of insurance as well as the country. Health insurance products that promote healthy habits and wellness, along with the 24/7 doctor consultations, telemedicines, are now in need of the hour. The other example could be remodeling of our commercial lines of policy, so that the pandemic-led business interruption losses can possibly be assessed and covered based on some prices that can be fixed around it. So all in all, I think a crucial crossover point of our journey as a sector, for the sector to take the spotlight and at the same time align the operations with the market dynamics, which is also equally relevant from socio-economic perspective. Now, in order to achieve a state of saturation in the sense that each and every eligible Indian is provided with access to a vast range of insurance products, it's equally important that for insurance companies to think about their distribution mechanisms survive effectively, especially in the rural and underserved segments. The focus should rather be on steadily shifting towards increasing the access of low-cost, simple insurance products, including those that can be sold through all channels or digital as well. Simultaneously, a complementary thrust to spread awareness and improve financial literacy, particularly the concept of insurance, would be a help. The other idea that necessitates a regulatory scrutiny is that the application of technology in insurance must be really reassessed, if required, in terms of implementing it and embedding it into the way an insurance sector lives and breathes. Example could be an InsurTech, which is designed to squeeze our savings and efficiencies from the current insurance industry model. Companies and InsurTechs together, to my mind, can find solutions for the intrinsic challenges by way of collaboration rather than competition. And this collaboration, to my mind, also could happen through various different models such as incubation, capital investment, co-creations, partnership, or distribution. I think it's time that we really gave fire and energy to these debates sooner than later. And to conclude, I must say that discussions like these are the need of the hour to incubate and foster collaborations between the industry stakeholders, industry experts, industry watchers and analysts, and facilitate solutions that could benefit the sector as well as the country as a whole. Thanks, Mr. Singhal.
Thank you, Mr. Mishra. I think I've always mentioned, that the participation of government along with insurance companies makes a difference in society. And the way you started mentioning all that has been done by the government in terms of providing security to people across, and the number of lives covered has been phenomenal. And I've always maintained that the insurance sector cannot and should not be away from the social causes of taking the country to the next level. And you there is a big comfort to us in terms of the way things get pushed and get done. So thank you very much, Mr. Mishra, for starting this discussion. From you, I'd like to move on to Mr. Jonathan Bloomberg. I think be it Vitality Health Insurance, or if I look at Discovery Group, it's a talk of town in every country across. The way you transform customer experience, the way you brought in the ecosystem, I think you became the benchmark for the world to talk about and see it. And so we're so very happy to have you here. We'd like to hear about your experiences, your thinking process, how you go about it. And you have been there for 13 years in this company, So a lot of learnings would have happened and your best practices. So over to you, Dr. Jonathan.
Thank you, Mr. Singhal, and good afternoon, everybody. Very good to be with you. I'm speaking to you from Johannesburg today. Yes, thank you. I think in your opening remarks, you made this very important point that traditionally all kinds of insurance have been both highly transactional, but not only transactional, they've also had very limited transactional interaction with customers. If you think about life insurance or pension, the beginning of the policy, there's some interaction. And then with life insurance, literally on death, and maybe just occasionally on a policy anniversary, a letter. And health insurance is not very different, slightly more frequent because of claiming. I think the big innovation from our side was firstly to understand this basic idea that insurance risk is not static. The basic point that one can engage with your customer, whether that's health or life or pensions, by the way, in a way that improves their health and wellness and therefore changes the risk to the insurer. And that can liberate tremendous surplus in the insurance book, which can be shared with the customer through lower premiums, through rewards, and through enhanced benefits. And when we understood that dynamic, it changed the way we thought about insurance. And so we have developed over 30 years now this ecosystem in which we engage with customers essentially every day, because we're talking to them about, did you exercise today? Share with us the data on your exercise. Healthy nutrition, as an example, more recently sleep, mental health, etc. So there is suddenly this large number of touch points with each customer. Now, of course, it's very important to be honest with ourselves and with everybody else. Not every customer engages in this way. So you get a whole spectrum of engagement from people who remain very apathetic and just engage with you when they claim, and all the way on the other side, people who are highly engaged every single day. Now, what's interesting from an insurance company point of view is that those very engaged customers become, very, very valuable to the insurer. Firstly, they are healthier and they have improved risk, longer life expectancy, lower health claims. But secondly, they tend to lapse much less frequently than unengaged customers because they're benefiting from the engagement and the reward. So it can become a self-perpetuating positive cycle. Your unengaged customers will leave you, and your most engaged customers will stay with you. And the other point I should emphasize is that a program like this itself can act as a magnet to attract a better risk customer, because people who are more inclined to look after their health and wellness are generally healthier to start off with as well. The net result of all of this, is an experience that is better for the customer, but also actually a higher performing insurance business. And the two can feed on each other. The last point I'd like to make in these remarks, Mr. Sengal, is that in more recent times, the explosion of digital apps and of big data and the lower cost of processing data has meant that engagement has moved not only from once or twice a year to daily, but the next big shift, which we're now working on, is it can move from one size fits all to very personalized. So I could come to you, Mr. Sengal, with the particular issues that are important for you, which would be very different from those that are important for me. We have a different health profile, different interests, we exercise differently. And that level of personalized engagement changes the dynamic again, and it can further increase the richness of the interaction between the insurer and the customer. So let me stop there, and perhaps we can give more examples later on. Thank you very much.
Very impressive, Mr. Broomberg. I think the two things is a clear.
Lost Tapan sir, I guess.
I think Tapan is facing some bandwidth issue. We just wait for.
Tapan sir, we lost you for about 30 seconds or so.
Okay, so I think from here I move on to Mr. Tripathi. I think he's one man who's always very, very energetic in terms of reinventing the business, of looking things differently. We just heard Dr. Broomberg in terms of how he's thinking at increasing not only touch points, but also to the next level to use data for hyper personalization. I think that is what keeps them ahead in terms of the business, the way they think. So how have you been thinking about your business, and how do you look at the ecosystem and the customer experience, and how you have been re-energizing your business? Over to you, Mr. Tripathi.
Thanks, Tapan. I would just like to talk about the evolution, and you were so very right. For hundreds of years, life insurance industry operated in a particular manner where the engagements were fewer, and we collected monies. If something happened, we paid as claims or we returned the money, predominantly savings-oriented business. But I think a trend that started to emerge a few years ago, I think I will say with mobile phones coming and internet penetrating everywhere, the savviness of the customer in terms of the way the purchase is taking place started to make a shift in how life insurance industry was doing its sales. And increasingly, everybody is realizing, and especially so in last 18 months, that we have to align our sales and distribution model, service model to the way the customer wants, rather than the other way around, because only those companies which will be able to do that will remain closer to customers. Otherwise, customers will like to follow their own tune rather than following somebody else's tune. And the first thing which is needed in that journey is engagement. I think life insurance industry, particularly because of the way we have always operated, had no significant mechanism to engage with customers on a frequent basis. And when we talk to the customer, that emerges as a big need. And I think the ability to engage is going to depend completely on the initiatives that the life insurance companies will take. Customers are not going to come and engage with you unless they need you. So one of the things that we need to do together, and we are doing in our company, is to create an engagement mechanism. Banks have done it for a long period of time, but some bit of relationship model, and we have in our company started a virtual relationship model where we do want to be in touch with all the customers many times a year, because I think that's the key to remain in touch and to serve the customers better. The second thing is if we really have to forecast a few years from here on, I think the journey is going to be around understanding the collective need of the customer rather than bespoke needs of life insurance, general insurance, health insurance, XYZ. I think slowly all of it is going to converge, and hence it will become very important to start to, I will say, shed the ego and be a part of the overall network through which the customer is going to engage. And exactly to the example Mr. Broomberg was mentioning, slowly the industry is going to evolve in that direction. Already, I see, Tapan, in many places we have moved ahead. For example, I'm sure in some time Yashish is going to talk about the great ecosystem that the aggregators are creating. And that system has been built on trust, transparency, unbiased representation, etc. And many industry players are already part of that ecosystem, doing fairly well. I personally have very big expectations from how that particular ecosystem is going to evolve. But beyond of this, at least two different segments, health, protection, and well-being, being a collective need of the customer, that ecosystem is going to evolve. We already, on the similar lines of discovery, we have launched a few things to engage with the customer. But from engagement, I think it will slowly start to expand and quite seamlessly. People will like to come in at one place and will like to have multiple offerings coming their way. And Max Life is trying to work in that direction. Retirement is the other one. Slowly we can see, and at one point of time, Tapan, you'll remember that there was a retirement that insurance companies were doing, then NPS came in being, then PPF, etc. We are already seeing all of it coming together now, with banks being allowed to take the point of purchase, or life insurance companies having annuity service. Can you all hear me, Tapan? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can
Am
hear
I
you now.
audible?
But we lost you for 20
Yes.
seconds. Yes.
So basically,
Yes, now you're-
this ecosystem is also going to get evolved, and we, as at our company level, we see this retirement also as a big ecosystem, and we are slowly restructuring, re-energizing, and perhaps repurposing the business so that we go beyond how traditionally these businesses were done. I think the last point from my perspective is digitization is going to give a fillip to this entire agenda. I think it will give access to tons of data. It will give access to analytics, which is going to make it easier for people to become a part of the ecosystem if you're savvy. And I think the big differentiation going forward, like Tapan, you mentioned, over next decade or so, is going to happen on the strength to be able to access that data, to be able to smartly analyze the data, and to become more and more part of this ecosystem through creative products and services that will make the life insurance companies more and more relevant. So I think the old ways of just following a distribution blinker products is going to slowly be replaced by being a part of ecosystem with newer products and services.
Thank you, Mr. Tripathi. I think I loved all your statements, other than the slowly part of it, because I already have two gentlemen now after you who are taking this on, the convergence of products, the digitalization, the data usage, and the platform, is already on. So we have to hear from them where are they heading towards and what are they doing. So first and foremost, I'll move to Mr. Hemant Gowda, from PhonePe. I think I've seen him personally, how he's built it up in a couple of years from completely scratch, and the first meeting in which, he was thinking of what to do, to today as the forefront of leading it in the ecosystem, in the e-commerce space, as one of the leading players in terms of insurance and redefining it at a very hyper pace. So I am very happy to have you, Hemant, there. So your views on the ecosystem creation. You heard Dr. Bloomberg, you heard Mr. Mishra, you heard Mr. Tripathi. They are speaking about different things, and now you two actually know the next speakers have the data, have the platform, have hyper personalization, and you have a lot of data flowing from different sources, which is there. Now your take on this, your view, and how do you see things progressing? So over to you first, Hemant.
Thank you so much, Tapan. I think the way we see it, being having entered in last few years, I think we are imagining then reimagining. For us, it's been about how much can we imagine the customer experience, and a lot of it has been how we work with the industry. I mean, whatever you say, I mean, interactions with every insurer, starting with you and everyone else. I think there is deep amount of understanding of insurance in the industry, and that helps us think more deeply on how to make products which are right for the customer. So I would really acknowledge the fact that we have a very mature industry, and we have been amazed the kind of depth of understanding that the industry has, which has helped us learn a lot. When we look at specifically how we've evolved, if our payment journey 4, 5.5 years back, there's been a great amount of convergence across. We all know the entire jam, the mobile data, payments, all converged in one go. That convergence has really accelerated how people are seeing their digital life. Maybe COVID in last 1.5 years has been another accelerator of digital adoption. And we are seeing massive amount of digital adoption across all categories from a consumer's perspective. And it literally, I'm starting with payments, because we are seeing the way we are seeing the trend is that transactional behavior is leading to more deeper behavior in more serious products. And what we are seeing right now in payments is there's the movement of penetration right up to tier 3, 4, and 5 cities, towns, villages. So what really is happening is the way you look at, for us, it's the India first, and then Bharat 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and all of it is playing a massive amount of role in the entire journey that we are experiencing. When we look at from a customer experience perspective, like I mentioned, I think when we look at insurance also, we've actually started thinking, when we started, we were continuously thinking on how do we be able to cater to customers across the segment. For us, it wasn't one product fits all, because we had someone who's sitting into a small taluka village, or someone who's sitting in tier 1, tier 2 city, and across different segments. And how do you really think of customizing or creating right products? The second was, there is this concept of always of, how do you create reach, and then how do you create use? So it's important, when we were thinking for us to, create reach and then introduce the usages. So, that's where when we had the reach, once you have the reach, then it was about investing in, 3 or 4 things for us. One, we really wanted to create a very simplified journey, for us, because insurance, what we got from customers, a lot of them wanted very simple products to be able to understand what the products mean. There is great amount of effort that we put in trying to educate the customers in various ways, through our continuous communication streams. The third was we tried to create products, working with the industry, which are very relevant to our customers and to the customers overall. Trying to create right amount of relevance. And fourth was great amount of effort trying to create the trust with the customer and instill that confidence that yes, you've done transactions online, you can actually buy insurance as well, from various ways. And that has really played out. So in the entire simplification, education, relevance, and creation of confidence. For I think the way, if we look at it, I think expansion of ecosystem on the digital one will be the this would be the 4 pillars that we would really think on, which will grow. Couple of more points. I think there is a cycle of adoption and engagement that we see in any category. and it is, more relevant to insurance than anything else. That customer, it is not about just trying to buy the product. They need to get used to it, and then once they start getting the initial adoption, it could be seeing the codes, trying to understand the product, trying to buy a small product, and then buy a more critical product. So from a bite-sized products to a very serious product, it's a journey that that I think which customers will go through. So that's why this journey of adoption and engagement is really critical. So we try and get adoption going, and as adoption goes, try and help customers think more seriously on engagement, which is buying products which are really important for them. And as I think Sir Saurabh Mishra, Sir, what you mentioned, I think I really noted those points very relevant. I think it just resonated so well with me because a lot of things that we've actually thinking on, products which are personalized, discretionary to vital spend. The entire health spend is moving from discretionary to it becoming vital. We're seeing that happening, playing out in any health product that we are launching. Low cost, simple products. That's what we started off with, and I think the customers now are transitioning to very evolved products. So that's how we see reimagining experience in the new normal from our perspective.
Thank you. That was very interesting. And now I move on to Mr. Yashish Zaya, a man who set up, the first, the way I may say, platform, the way he pushed for term insurance, the way he redefined the term insurance space, the way he looked at health, automobile, the way he used data, the way he's trying to figure out customer behavior, use analytics. I mean, what all we've been talking about in terms of what has to be done, he's a man who's been doing it all. So his experiences in terms of how he would look at redefining customer experience, how he would look at ecosystem being played out, and what a challenge he sees for the industry from being a part of it also and a bit outside it also, and his view onto that. Over to you, Mr. Yashish Zaya.
Thank you, Tapan sir. And I think a very relevant points made, from all quarters. And when I think about insurance, sir, it's a product that consumers usually do not like to engage with much. And I think the most critical aspect for us became always and always will stay, literacy of the consumer, somehow enhancing the financial literacy so that the consumer knows why this particular product is essential for them outside of, motor insurance, which is obviously a compulsory product. But besides that, a customer really needs to understand why a particular product is important for them. I think doing that in a very simple manner so that the consumer gets the gist of why they require a health insurance or a life insurance or a savings product. I think as we look at, the future, the data lakes that the government is building out, whether it be, the UPI, whether it be the NDHM, whether it be the, the IIB data, whether it be the Vahan data, I think these are very critical in us being able to see, because our industry has to, number one, explain to the customer why they need a particular product. And secondly, as we sell that product, we have to also be able to do so profitably. Because if we do not do so profitably, then at some point the customer, may be willing to engage, but we as an industry may not be able to serve that customer in a scaled up manner. And thus, access to data is critical because only through that can we weed out elements of, fraud. Can we make it convenient for the customer? Because, otherwise a customer comes and maybe, has to go through a few steps before the policy gets cancelled or the refunds happen. So I think to bring that convenience, I think that the data lakes are very critical. And I think making those data lakes available through all formats of the industry is very critical. I think as we look at low cost micro insurance, specifically in the rural areas, as Saurabh sir was mentioning, I think once more, the role of financial literacy and data will become very critical. Because without those two, we have had, if you look at the last 10, 15 years of insurance, I think on the rural side, sir, if you look at the products, there would be elements of some miscommunication, misunderstanding, or a lack of penetration altogether. And the primary reason for that is these two, that either there wasn't an understanding of what product should people purchase, or there wasn't sufficient data. And if there wasn't sufficient data, then to simplify the product, one had to make it such that, it had a very low element of risk. And that automatically feeds to it not being a very useful product for the consumer. Because if there is no risk in it, then what insurance does the customer eventually get? So I guess to break that deadlock, we really have to bring the data to play. And this is where, again and again, I'm going on to that, the data lakes, nobody can enforce the data lakes like the government can. And I believe, that is where the government really needs to play that role of making sure these data lakes become available across all formats of distribution. I think the last thing I would say is we have to, as an industry, move to an insurance plus regime. See, today, it is very clear that you cannot build a category on just one product. You cannot only be selling insurance and hope to make it an efficient use of your customer acquisition costs, if I may say so. Today, let us look at it in a very simple manner, right? Today, any entity from any part of the ecosystem can defray their costs over 10, 15 different product categories. The same person can also buy movies. The same person can also buy shoes. The same person can also buy insurance. But that cost defrayment doesn't happen in the insurance category. So, whether it's a Bajaj or whether it's a Max Life or whether it's a Policy Bazaar, these entities cannot do anything besides insurance. And that automatically takes their acquisition costs up and in a way negates their ability to become ecosystems. And I think that there needs to be a thought change there where essentially, we do not need to bar insurance entities specifically from undertaking activities which are very close to insurance. And actually, why even that? If it is not relevant, I will not start selling products on my platform which are totally irrelevant. It doesn't make sense because those customers would not be there for that. However, close by, otherwise, how do you develop an ecosystem? Otherwise, we will only rely on existing ecosystems to also sell insurance. But none of the insurance companies will ever transform into an ecosystem because by definition, they would not be authorized to do anything outside insurance. And I think these 2 points, sir, I think are necessary in the transformation of our industry to, not just participate on ecosystems, but also become ecosystems. Today, a Ping An can become a Ping An because it can also do a good doctor. It can also do 5 other things. Not because it was told by the government that you can only do insurance. So I think that is an important area. And I would assume that data lakes and insurance plus becomes a reality very soon. And I believe from a financial literacy perspective, we all then can put in our efforts to make sure the consumers understand the right products.
So thank you, Suresh. I think very powerful points. I think one of it, which you mentioned for creation of ecosystem or insurance system and allowance of companies to be able to sell other products. Very, very interesting. Look at banks, they can sell insurance, but insurance company can't sell banking products. No? So in a way, the cost impact and the way the customers looked at is something which has been close to my heart. I've been pushing it, and I think it requires more advocacy to ensure that we see that day, because that will transform the insurance industry to the next level. So I think it's a very powerful point and a very relevant point to what it is. At the same point, in terms of data, the data collection together, access of data to companies and making best use of it in terms of caring. So can data become something which, on a kind of a collective basis be accessible to everybody who wants to make a difference in terms of redesigning product is again a very powerful thought in terms of how do we look at it. But on this also, the other point which comes through, and Dr. Bloomberg actually left at that point when he finished saying that we are looking at hyper personalization to a customer in terms of offering which is there, in terms of using data. Now, the point which comes to the insurance industry is that it's a spread of risk across various parameters. So the difference of premium between a risk which is not so good to a risk which is very good should not be so huge that the insurance industry gravitates only towards a very good risk at a very low price, and then makes it so expensive that it will be unaffordable for people who actually will require insurance, no? And it will become contrary to the entire insurance industry's principle as a whole, no? So is the industry going to focus on customer experiences, or will it come to hyper personalization of pricing, which is going to lead to an example where the insurance industry becomes irrelevant for the purpose for which it was created? No, Dr. Bloomberg. So what are your thoughts on this? Because I think you made a very powerful statement of hyper personalization offering to the customer. So it's on customer centricity. Is it on a high degree of pricing which will happen, or how would you look at going forward? And will this hyper personalization and user data kill the basics of insurance industry as a whole? So now the question to you, because you are now going ahead into this journey, and what do you feel about it?
Yeah, thank you. I think that's a very important question. So I think the first point to make is that in some countries, regulators prevent that kind of use of pricing and other risk management to discriminate against those of poor risk. So, for example, in health insurance in many countries around the world, there is a requirement for community rating, which does create the solidarity, inside the insurance pool. Of course, and I'm not familiar with the regulatory environment in India in detail. There are many markets where either in life or health insurance, insurers are completely free to price according to their estimates of risk. And as you rightly say, what that does do is lead to selection, and it does make it very expensive for higher risk patients or customers. Here, I think, is where the hyper-personalization can come in again. So you will all be familiar with products that are emerging now, and we've started to do this as well in life insurance, for example, where you can offer what would historically have been regarded as an impaired life. Let's say somebody with diabetes, a problem that's very common in your country. Historically, a person living with type 1 or type 2 diabetes would be regarded as a very poor insurance risk because of higher mortality risk, lower life expectancy. And so the price to them would be very high. These days, with digital apps, with the understanding in healthcare that diabetes can be managed effectively, if you can engage that diabetic customer in a journey, that means that between them and you as the insurer and their doctors, they are looking after their health, you can offer a more competitive premium than a standard rate for a diabetic. And what we do is we do that in a dynamic way. So we say to this person, you are diabetic, here's a program, here's a lower premium. Your premium will remain on this lower level for as long as you are engaged in this program and showing good results. However, if you drop out or you stop complying or you are much less engaged, your premium will start to go back up. And so you create an opportunity for that customer to obtain a lower premium, but it does require active engagement from them and often from their healthcare provider. So I think the personalization can address the very problem that you're picking up, which can come from more sophisticated pricing. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Bloomberg. I think that's a very powerful thing to do. That is what personalization has to be. I thought it's better that we get this clarified, because a lot of people gravitate only towards pricing, which I don't think is the case. It's about creating that customer experience, it's solving the customer's problem, it's trying to put together something in which the customer overall becomes healthier, happier, and is able to see insurance as a value add for that. It's not about just paying claims. Obviously, insurance companies do pay claims and they do pay it very well, but it's going beyond that. How can they make a difference to people's life? I think that is what Dr. Jonathan just mentioned about it, and I think that is the way forward how insurance should be looking into it. And that's when I come to the Tripathi. I think as a life insurance industry, as a leading life insurance company of India, I think a lot of things can be done in terms of personalization and in terms of offering, in terms of the way you rate life insurance for a person or the kind of ecosystem you created. So your thoughts, listening to all the panelists, in terms of how would you, as a leading life insurance company of India, look at these things, and how would you like to plan for your company?
Sir, you're on mute, sir.
Thanks, Yashish. Why don't you develop an app that whenever somebody wants to speak, the mute becomes unmute? I think it's very embarrassing. A very pertinent question you asked, Tapan. I think because of the cycle time that life insurance companies have to follow, I think a lot of that comes out of learning also. It takes a lot of learning. For example, when Jonathan was speaking, I was thinking about how the protection market, for example, in India is evolving on, say, an aggregator like Policybazaar. So, the market is looking for price. Everybody has cut prices to compete with each other. Now, at those lower prices, of course, you can't serve everybody. And hence, most of the life insurance companies are now choosing the segment which fits into that price to be able to make money. Now, completely counterintuitive, aligned to the point that you were making, that that segment already has access to life insurance. In fact, people who do want life insurance can't buy it because it's not available to them. So really, for us to move to segments which actually require life insurance, leveraging the ecosystem will require two things. Will require data. I think the lack of data actually, or lack of experience, forces not just life insurance companies, but also reinsurers to take bets or to experiment or to go and appropriately price the products because the data is not available. So firstly, access to data is something that is required. And the second one is, I think, an ecosystem of sorts, which is more strategic rather than commercial, must evolve between the life insurance companies which take risks, but also reinsurance companies which take a large part of the risk, as well as the aggregation platforms or other players in the ecosystem to be able to serve the customers better, which means I think all the parties should be able to look at the profit pools collectively and should be able to take the profits together or losses together to be able to make it successful and available. I think we are far away from there. Still, the level of relationships that exist between the ecosystem providers and life insurance companies and reinsurance providers are quite tight commercially. I mean, everybody wants to just eliminate the risk and wants to take the profit. I think that mindset must change. I'm very happy that that we are at least moving in that direction. We are trying to do a few things that will enable us to be able to share profit, share losses together, at least philosophically. The second thing that is quite relevant is ease and going closer to the customer. I think ease will play a big role. And for ease to come alive, I think more and more players will be required to participate, not just on sales side, but also on onboarding side, on having access to customer data so that we make it easier for the customer to participate, to be able to look at the data and reach out to customer without customer reaching out to us, to be able to offer maybe pre-approved insurance plans if somebody wants it. And those things will just evolve, as very relevant point Yashish made about having access to those common data lakes for us to having access to the data, as well as maturity of the ecosystem players to look at profits together, losses together, to be able to serve the customers better. Because when all the relevant players in the ecosystem come together to serve the customer rather than trying to transfer risk onto each other, it will be very hard to do.
A very powerful point made, Mr. Tripathi. I think what you're saying is that if right now insurance company cannot be the ecosystem, can they plug and play with ecosystem with a common goal of serving the customer and keeping the customer center, and obviously putting the P&L at stake in which the profit pool or the loss pool gets divided. I think it's a very, very different thinking and a very interesting thinking, but in a way it can sort out the problem that Yashish was mentioning, that can we in a country like ours where we have difficulty in terms of pushing any of the product by regulations, by the act, can this be a solution till this gets sorted out? So very, very powerful point made. And from you, I go to Mr. Hemant again now. Mr. Hemant, you are a payment, basically a payment company, and then you're selling insurance. And here we're talking of ecosystem and customer centricity at its core. You've been very successful in putting these two things together. And I think one of the most successful companies in the Indian context. And you have huge data. You heard people talk of data. You heard people talk of personalization. You heard people talk of hyper personalization. You heard people talk of providing solutions like diabetic care. You heard people talk about the ease. You heard about how to make the whole ecosystem collectively solve the customer worries. So what's your thinking for the way forward for the way you have been able to do that? So initial, I would say, very good success. You have been able to transform the space to a very different level. A lot of people thought so, but they could not reach the level that you could do so. But going forward, what is your thinking for your company and how do you want to see this happening?
Thank you, Tapan. I think, the way we have done, I think what we want to really, achieve, like I said, the journey is about, and we were talking to customers, the first insight that we got, and, we spoke to a lot of customers while we were launching products on insurance. The couple of things that we got, we realized one, buying insurance, people felt is the overwhelming process for quite a few people because the way it is, they're not used to it, documentation things, medicals, all of it. So we really wanted to go in a direction where we tell people and try and create products where we're saying it is not as stressful. It is for 90% of the population actually it's not stressful. It's easy, it's simple to buy products, and there are things that can be solved digitally. So I think that creating that understanding for the customer, saying insurance buying is actually an enjoyable process. It takes the stress off you, and it's not a stressful process. It's a big burden that we have taken on ourselves to convince a big set of our customers, going forward. The second is, also, like I mentioned, the entire confidence and trust, because there is a trust that the customer has for us as payments. We don't think, we know that the trust will flow into insurance, but we are not under investing. We are investing very heavily in trying to tell them. For example, like very simple thing as, customer service. On the payment side, 80% of our queries originate and actually get resolved via chatbots. We are trying to see how do you kind of bring a human element to that digital chatbot version where we can help customers address their questions outside of the insurance buying journey if they just want to have answers. There are a lot of questions that people want, and how do you digitize and make it easy for people to just very quickly get answers to. So investing in trying to create a good customer service support, which is very reactive in a way where it helps customer address their concerns, queries very reactively and in a very fast way. I think the third insight that we got, and the understanding was there is going to be convergence. So insurance traditionally, I mean, of last decade, a lot has changed, but traditionally has been built around the offline distribution. Customers now pushing for a very strong digital experience. So that converging is going to be a very interesting part because it helps all of us start thinking how do we kind of change. Like a classic example for us is enabling self-inspection, where customers are being able to do self-inspection on motor cars. So how do you put power in the hands of customers back is a third thing that we are going to be focusing on, so that there is enough power in them to be able to be in control. The sense of me not being in control or not being able to solve things. I think that's the third pillar that we would want to do it. So these are the three areas that we are going to be focusing on, trying to help them, tell them it's not a stressful journey, it's actually good. There are great products out there that insurance companies have created. Second is instill a lot of confidence and trust in various ways, right from chatbots to being reactive and helping them. And third, like I mentioned. So those are the 3 points that we will be focusing.
Thank you, Mr. Hemant. I think that is the clear direction that you have for your company. And coming back to Mr. Yashish Dahiya, you had a very successful IPO, Mr. Yashish Dahiya. So I think I had a conversation with you in which you said this is because not of what I've created as now, but of the promise that I'm to create. And that is where people are betting that I'll be able to make a difference, and this is where it is. And a lot of hard work is to come in the play to come. And I heard your views on the ecosystem and the data lake you're looking at. So you're a man on a mission. You want to transform the industry. You want to take it to the next level, and you are putting it forward, and you're taking the thought process to the next level. So your thoughts in terms of how you look at this ecosystem creation, in terms of your company going forward, how do you look at customer experience, in terms of you going forward? So 3 minutes, Mr. Yashish Dahiya, because we are 2:56 and we have to end at 3. So 3 minutes to you, and then 1 minute we sum it up.
Thank you, sir. I think it was I actually said the same thing in the previous one, sir, and I'll just kind of focus on this for one more second. See, if you look at insurance as a category, in this, there'll be 5% of customers who will give fraudulent data, who will give some wrong data. And I think, every country has its own unique situation. From the best I understand, in Jonathan's country, there is a fixed price for an insurance. And pretty much everybody has to be given an insurance, and hence the wellness effort works very well there, because that's the way one can drive, the overall pricing there. While India doesn't have anything like there's a fixed price for everybody. So I think every country has a particular unique situation which gets created around by the regulatory infrastructure of that country. I think all I would say is, insurance is a product which is largely based on data alone. It is an entire risk. We have, as an industry, been saved from that risk because we've also carried a large savings component in our life insurance side. And so that has somehow protected us from the need for that intense amount of data. And whenever data has got involved, if you look at health insurance and life insurance, the onboarding process becomes painful, which is what Hemant is also mentioning. And the reason that becomes painful is because you're taking on a very, very real risk that for the next 30 years, this person might keep claiming 20 lakhs every year or 5 lakhs every year. And that becomes a pain. And hence, sir, the requirement for data access becomes extremely critical upfront. Without that, making the process easy is impossible. And the customer service we speak about, being able to settle claims very rapidly, will again depend on the quality of the input. Because if the quality of the input starts suffering at some level, then we will have difficulty paying claims. Nobody can pay out of pocket. Nobody can take losses forever. And I think this area, requires a very serious introspection from the industry, that how do we really solve for data in the future? How do we solve for Insurance Plus? Because on the basis of that, we will be able to definitely build something beautiful for the future.
Thank you, Vijay. Yeah, so for all of us who are listening to this, I think we could go on for another couple of hours. We have such powerful speakers with such good ideas, and the way they are on a mission to transform the industry and look at things differently. I think it is like, I feel that we are finishing up too fast and we just started. It's already an hour gone through the discussion. And but one thing which comes out clearly if I listen to everybody is that one thing is very clear: ecosystem is the way forward. Customer centricity, keeping customer center is the way forward. Putting it all together for changing the experience of customer in terms of ease of purchase or in terms of claims or looking at personalization is what's happening. And we see it's happening in like what Dr. Jonathan mentioned, or the way Mr. Tripathi is looking at it, or the way Mr. Hemant or Mr. Yash are trying to redefine it. So I believe that we are in very exciting times, and we are at the cusp of this huge transformation. In the next 4 or 5 years, would actually see a very different insurance industry than what we have seen for hundreds of years in the past. So the next 4 or 5 years will be like putting it all together, and across the globe we see these things happening. Be it as the mention of Ping An or the discovery, or if you look at different coming across. So keep tuned, keep watching this. I think it's going to be a very interesting space in which we are in. Thank you very much. I think it's been a pleasure talking to all of you. It's a pleasure putting all this out together. Thank you for your thoughts and thank you for your ideas.
Thank you very much.
From our side.